All right, so tonight we have the teachings of Reb Tzadok Melablen on Parshat Tazria-Metzora. Tazria-Metzora is the Parsha of Lashon Hara. It's the Parsha of Tzarat, of this leprosy that the Torah talks about, that it's this supernatural kind of disease that comes upon a person that does any number of any one of a number of different sins that the Gemara lists, the Midrash lists, and so the Hebrew word for this leprosy, so he calls it a nega. He calls it a nega tzarat. He calls it a affliction of a leprosy, and there's an interesting term in the Sefer Yetzirah that it says with regarding to the word nega, that it says ein bira lemata mi nega, that there is nothing worse than nega, and in goodness there's nothing better than oneg. Oneg, it's a play on words. It's the same letters that oneg means pleasure, and the Zohar says it's specifically referring to oneg Shabbat, to enjoying Shabbat. That the oneg in general is the highest level of experience, the highest level of existence, and nega is the worst. So we're talking about, and this, it's specific to Tzaras that it says this word nega, that it uses this word nega. Also interesting, we just had the Seder that Hashem says that od nega achat avi al parat. It says by Makas B'cheres. Makas B'cheres, it uses the same word. It's only one of the 10 plagues uses the word nega, is by Makas B'cheres, by the plague of the firstborn. That's considered nega. That's the worst, the end. So there's something very definitive about this nega tzaras, about the punishment for a person that obviously speaks lashon hara. That the Chazal have a famous teaching that the word Metzora is a hint to motzi shem ra, that he slanders his friend, that he talks badly about his friend. So, meaning that the Torah only talks about a person who has leprosy. It doesn't give you the backstory. It doesn't tell you what does it take to get leprosy. And so the Gemara tells you that Metzora is a hint to the thing they brought it about, and that is motzi sheva, that because you slandered somebody else, because you spoke lashon hara, because you spoke badly about somebody else, so that's the thing that brings tzaras. So first of all, we find that this tzaras, this leprosy, is something unique, is something really way worse than anything else. That number one, that the Torah uses the word nega, that we said that the only time in the 10 plagues that the Torah uses is only on the worst, and the Sefer Yetzirah says that ein bira lemata mi nega, that is the worst thing in the world, is this nega. It's also something very unique that the tumah, that the spiritual impurity that comes for tzaras, so there is something worse about this tumah than we find by anything else in the entire Torah, and that is something called shiluach machnas. Shiluach machnas means to be sent away from machanot, from the different encampments. So it says that there's different encampments. There's different levels of the Jewish encampment. That the highest, the closest, is Machane Shechina, that is the Beit HaMikdash. Then there's something called Machane Leviah, that is where the Levites would live, and that's considered the Jerusalem is considered the Machane Leviah. And then we have the Machane Yisrael, like the entire Yerushalayim. Okay, so that we have the Mishkan, Har HaBayit, and the entire Yerushalayim. Okay, so
the Levium is Har HaBayit.
The Levium is Har HaBayit. Yes, I'm sorry. And in the times of when we were in the desert, so it was the Mishkan, and then there was the place where the Levites would live specifically surrounding the Mishkan, and then the encampment of the tribes, of the 12 tribes, the other 12 tribes was around that. So then at that time, so to be sent away from all the machnas, to be sent away from it means that you have to be outside of everybody. You have to be literally in the desert. So you never have to be outside of Israel. But it would be outside of, after we came into Yerushalayim, then it would be that you can't even come into Yerushalayim. Okay? But originally, when we're in the Mishkan, so it meant that you have to be outside of civilization. Okay? So that is the only tumah that not only does it prohibit you from being in the Beis Hamikdash, not only does it prohibit you from being in the Har Bayit, but it even prohibits you from being just within civilization. That's why it says by the Metzora, Badat Yeshev, that he has to sit by himself. He has to be alone, and part of it is obviously some kind of part of the experience of being alone is to be some kind of therapy. That, like if you can't live properly within civilization, then like you need to take a time out. With little kids, these you need time out. You just time by yourself. Just sit, go and sit and stand in the corner and think about what you did.
Solitary confinement.
No, I didn't say that. no. It's not solitary confinement because actually when the places that they go is that they go with each other, and like they're it's right, whatever, it's they learn Torah. Yeah, they have to, like, if somebody comes close to you, you have to say like, no, stay away, stay. But it's not solitary confinement. It's not that. That's a little bit harsh.
It's also embarrassing though for them, though. Totally. They get yelled at if they walk in the street. It's all out.
No, the opposite. He actually has to say about himself. He has to say like, I'm Tamei. He has to warn people not to come close.
It's even more humiliating.
Nachon. So we find that first of all, nega is the worst thing. The ein lamata minega. It's the worst thing in the world. Second of all, it's the only thing in the world that we find that is shiluch gil machnas. Like all the other tumas in the world, we have tumas meis. If you touch a dead person, then you don't have to go out of 3 machnas. If different things that come out of your body, that you don't have to go out of 3 machnas. But this is the worst kind of tuma. That is the only one. It's the only one that has this predicament that you're, and so. And so the third unique quality of Metzora, of this leprosy, is that it's Tuma al pi Kohen. That there's a unique thing that until the Kohen declares that it's Tameh, so it's actually not Tameh. This is something which doesn't exist by any other Tama. A dead object is obviously just Tameh just because. Something that something comes out of his body that's impure, so he's tummy just because. Like a dead animal, a dead carcass is like, these things are just, it's a reality of Tama. And this is very strange that the fact that you have leprosy on your body, so that doesn't make it impure. It's only when you bring it to the Kohen and you say, Kohen, is this a problem? He says, yes, that's a problem. In fact, the Gemara says that, in fact, really the pasuk says that sometimes that when sometimes they would have a reality that there would be leprosy on the house, and if the house would have leprosy, then everything inside the house would become tamei. So the Torah says that the first thing you do is they say take everything out, take all the vessels out of the house, because if the things are going to be stuck in the house, then they're going to become tamei. So better that they shouldn't become tamei. So first take everything else, and then invite the Kohen to come to your house. And then when the Kohen comes, so the Kohen says, "Hello, nice to see you today. Have you brought everything out of your house already?" It's not like we're working we're tricking the system. Like the Kohen is the one who tells us, like, have you taken, like, the Torah wants everything to be out because it's actually not tamei until the Kohen declares it tamei. Like when the Kohen says it's tamei. So that's very strange that what is this? What is it about this tumah that the tumah isn't inherent? It's something that only comes about through the words of the Kohen, the speech of the Kohen. So Tzadok writes that the Gemara talks about different sins for which leprosy comes, for which tzaras comes. Also, it's important to note, by the way, that even though, like, if you look up leprosy, the leprosy is a disease that exists. I don't know where it exists nowadays, but because it's not very common in civilized areas, but like in third world countries it does exist. That I know for a fact that there was a tzaddik that actually lived in this neighborhood named Rabbi Levin. That during the 30s or so, that there would be people in isolation, in what's the word that they used? In English, quarantine. They were literal quarantine. People with leprosy were in quarantine, and they would put them on these they
had islands for this stuff.
I don't know if you went to islands, but I don't know if they sent it in Israel. I'm not sure if they sent it to islands, but he would go and visit them.
They had colonies, leper colonies.
Colonies, yes, that's it. The leper colonies, and he would go to these leper colonies because lepers also need rabbis. He also went to the jails. He was the only rabbi that went to the jails, and he went to go to the lepers, and so I know that in the 30s that existed. I don't know where it exists today, but it is a physical reality. But that's not the same thing as Tzaras. Tzaras is something which is coming supernaturally, and you know what it takes to go away. You have to do tshuva. You have to do whatever spiritual thing you did wrong that brought it upon yourself. So until you fix that thing, it's not going to go away. So that's why there's this whole spiritual process of how to become pure from this process of tzaras. So the Gemara gives a list of different sins for which this tzaras could theoretically come, and so one of them that Rav Tzadok writes is the predominant one is what's called gasus haruach. Gasus haruach means a person that's full of themselves, a person that thinks highly of themselves to the point that they're better than everybody else, to the point that they can look condescendingly on everybody else, to treat other people condescendingly, and to think that the world revolves around them, and showing it by being in a very arrogant way, everything about them is just like I'm full of myself. So now, obviously, this is very connected to Lashon Hara, because when a person is speaking Lashon Hara, so let's think, what really motivates a person to speak Lashon Hara? Like usually, when we speak Lashon Hara, not me, obviously, but when we speak Lashon Hara, so it's because somebody's a jerk. And specifically because they're a jerk to me, and so the world deserves to know, I need to know, and so it's for the sake of justice. It's not it's not a personal thing. It's just like it's objectively true that this guy is a jerk, and you would want to know. You would want to know this. It's a mitzvah for you to know that this guy is a jerk, because you don't want to hang around jerks. So that's like the people that speak Lashon Hara. That's what they explain to me. So now with this mindset. So where does it come from? So it's a very egocentric perspective, right? So meaning that I think to myself about the things that the people that I would want to speak Lashon Hara about. So this is actually what I tell myself, look, you think you're a jerk, but you know very well that everybody else doesn't think they're a jerk, right? And because obviously the people that you're going to tell Lashon Hara to, those are the people that thought that he's a regular guy, right? Why do they think he's a regular guy? Because to everybody else he's normal, right? To everybody else he's even nice, he's even gracious, he's even and for whatever reason you have beef with him. So for whatever reason you think he's a jerk. For whatever reason he's a jerk to you, but for everybody else, so he's actually a normal, nice guy. Right, so an egocentric person thinks that no, my reality is the only reality. So I know the truth. To everybody else, he fakes, but to me, is the truth. So not only, first of all, I'm egocentric in judging him. That the fact that he wronged me, that is actually what defines him. But then I do something even worse, and then I take the law into my own hands. And I want to ruin his name because I want to be proactive in showing my quote-unquote truth. Okay, so there's two horrible steps that a person takes. That first of all, in the fact that I'm even judging him, and the fact that he's actually a bad guy. Like maybe I could judge him differently. Maybe I should understand that I trigger him for whatever reason. I trigger him. I don't know exactly what is the thing, what's the reason why I trigger him, but maybe it's something about me, right? It's not you, it's me. like maybe he's not such a bad guy. Maybe it's just I tick him off in a way that nobody else succeeds to tick him off. Okay. So first of all, there's a problem in the judgment, and second of all, there's a problem in the fact that I'm being proactive about it. Like who are you to try to ruin his life? That by taking the law into your own hands by trying to ruin it, which is absolutely what we're trying to do. It's absolutely what we're trying to do. Okay? Like somebody called me the other day that that somebody did something bad to them, and then she said okay, so in the meantime I'll just try to tell as many people as I can that he's such a bad person. So what are you trying to you can't. You're not God. You're not this person. If this person is able to succeed in life, so be it. It's not your place. It's not your place to play God and think that it's my role to ruin this person's name and to put this person down. That's simply not your role. And the fact that you think it's your role comes from gasus haruach, comes from this place of egocentricity, from this place of being full of myself, to think that I'm the one calling the shots, and that's really the source of the problem. So, this is the opposite of a character trait that the Gemara talks about. That the Gemara says that there's something that we should aspire to. That nalavim ve'enam olvim, the person that is offended, somebody offends him, somebody puts him down, ve'enam olvim, he doesn't answer. That somebody insults me and I don't feel the need to answer him back. And the pasuk says that that the love that God has for such a person is like the strength of the sun at noon. It's such an overpowering love that Hashem showers down on such a person that's able to just not try to get back at somebody, not to take it that whoa, you wronged me, I have to set the score straight, that to just be able to just brush it off. To just let it go. Just let it go. So this is the opposite of this positive character trait. But gasus haruach. So what's important to know is that the Gemara says about gasus haruach, about a person who's full of himself. The Gemara says in Chagiga something that doesn't say about any other character trait, and that is that Hashem says, "Ein ani v'hu yachol limladar b'dira achas." That me and him, we can't be together. That I just whenever he's around, I just can't be here, and that's why Tzadok says that when it says shiluach k'mamachnas, when it says that you have to stay out of the encampment, you know what it really means? It means that in a certain way, you lost your rights as a Jew. You're not considered a full-fledged Jew anymore. You've reached this point of no return that you have to give back your Teudat Zahut. We're revoking your citizenship because this is there's a line. You've gone over that line. Every Jew has it's okay if you. I can forgive you. What?
You would have murdered somebody, but you're still in the camp.
Yeah, a murderer stays in the camp, but a person that's full of himself is not, right? And which is in fact, Reb Tzadok writes that Reb Tzadok writes that there's three negative midot. There's kina, teva, and kavod.
What's that?
Shalom. Please. So there's kina, teva, kavod. I think we spoke about this last week. That the kina, teva, kavod is that kina is jealousy, which is the source of murder. Because why do you murder somebody? Because you're jealous. Right? So and then there's teva, lust, which is the source of gilui arayos and of sexual immorality, and then the kavod, which is desire for honor, desire for status, which is corresponding to idolatry. Okay? And so really the kavod is really the worst offense to Hashem. Is this in your face, like Hashem, like a person can love Hashem and still be upset at their ex. So I killed her because, she really upset me. But I'm still on the page, right? I'm still in the Jewish fold, right? I can still still love Hashem, but have an affair. It's a horrible thing. It's skila. It's hard. But you didn't give up your citizenship. And when it comes to ego, to being full of yourself, that's connected to avodah zarah. That is okay, you're saying that's your Hashem. Sorry, avodah zarah is Hashem. I'm giving back my Jewishness. I'm changing religions. That. It's not I made a mistake. It's not that I can't hold myself back. It's that I'm changing religions. It's a much more in your face, and that, says Tzadok, is connected to arrogance. That is connected to being egocentric, being full of yourself, and that's why he writes that these three negative character traits are corresponding to our three arch enemies, Esav, Yishmael, and Amalek. And it says that Esav is corresponding to murder, Ishmael is corresponding to sexual immorality, and Amalek is corresponding to avodah zarah. But he is the arch enemy of God. Milchama l'Hashem ba'Amalek midor dor. So it's what do you want? Do you want Hashem or do you want Amalek? And so Rav Tzadok is saying that really, what does that mean? Do you want Hashem or do you want to be full of yourself? There's only two answers. What are you doing in this world? Either you're serving God or you're serving yourself. Okay, you have to answer that question. Once you're serving God, you can serve God and make mistakes. But if you're serving yourself, then you're not serving God. That's avodah zarah. And
which tennis court are you on?
Which what?
I always conceptualize this as tennis courts.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. It's like a game. Which game are you playing?
Yeah.
Are you in God's game? Yeah, you'll serve it out sometimes. You'll make a fault, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And you may get punished for it. You'll lose a thing. But you're on that court. You're on God's court.
Totally.
Right. So even God forbid the person murders someone, they're still on God's court.
Uh-huh.
But if you choose the other court,
mm-hmm.
you're batting for the other team. You're finished. Like you say, you don't have that tzadut anymore. You're a different game. You're playing a different game.
Mm-hmm. You got me. So this is this tumah. The tumah that we're talking about taras, leprosy, lashon hara. It's all about arrogance. It's all about being full of yourself. It's all about being full of yourself, and which is the greatest tumah that exists in Judaism. The greatest tumah that exists in the Torah is this tumah that comes from being full of yourself, and that this actually specifically has to do with speech. And this is connected to a Kabbalistic idea that it says that Sfardim say this a lot, that because they call it Pasach Aliyah. There's a section from the Zohar called Pasach Aliyah, and it says over there that it talks about the different sfirot, and it says that there's something called Malchus Peh. Malchus Peh. What does it mean? What does it mean, Malchus Peh? That Malchus is one of the sfirot, which means kingship. And it says that kingship is connected to peh, it's connected to your mouth. Okay, so what does it mean? What does it mean, malchus peh? So, on a simple level, it means, like I always say, the simple level of malchus peh is therapy. Is that if you want to control something, talk about it. Okay, as long as you keep it in, so then your thoughts are going to control you. If you want to control your thoughts, so then talk about them. Once you're able to talk about your thoughts, then you're controlling them. Yeah, that's on a simple level. But on a deeper level, so the Kabbalistic sphere of Malchus, the Zohar says, is characterized by a trait of less than megar meklum, that has nothing of its own. That's why right now is Rosh Chodesh, so this is the holiday of the month. Malchus is symbolized by the moon. The moon symbolizes Malchus because the moon, it doesn't have its own light, but rather it only reflects the light of the sun. So that's why, Kabbalistically, the Jewish people are the Malchus of Hashem. Meaning that our purpose in this world is to not be our own thing, but rather to reflect God's glory in the world. And that's our purpose in this world. And so that's why that when we're talking about Malchus, we're talking about kingship, which is connected to our mouth. So what we're supposed to be doing with our mouth is to express Malchus, which really is supposed to be the expression of Leslie Migrami, the expression of the fact that I'm not my own thing, I'm not taking charge, I'm not the center of the universe, but rather I'm reflecting something bigger. Okay, so the person that went against his friend, started slandering his friend, and started judging his friend, and saying like the fact that I think he's a jerk, that means that he's actually a jerk, and the fact that I need to take control, I need to ruin his name. So that's a person that's very self-centered. The person thinks that I'm center of the world, and so he's the opposite of Malchus. He's the opposite of Malchus, and he's using his pair to think that I'm the king, I'm the center of the universe, I am where it's at. Okay, so when we're talking about Rosh Hashanah. Rosh Hashanah is the holiday that's centered around Malchus. Right, the Melech HaKolam Kulai, the Melech Kol Haaretz, Mekadesh Yisrael V'Yom Zikaron. That Rosh Hashanah is all about Malchut. So, what does it mean, Malchut? Malchut is that I'm not the center of the universe. That I know that everything I'm doing, it's all surrounding around Hashem. It's not about me. I'm a small part of a bigger story, and that's really what Malchus is. So because this is the making Hashem king in the world is the most basic thing, and that's why the thing that goes against that's called Klipas Amalek. So the person that's speaking Lashon Hara, so he's really connected to Klipas Amalek. That's why the Gemara connects negative speech. It connects it to the snake. That the snake was the first one to speak Lashon Hara, that is, speak negative talk. He spoke Lashon Hara about Hashem. He said that like the Hashem, he doesn't really have your best interest in mind. He's scared you're going to get control. He's talking bad about Hashem, obviously talking lies, and it's through his negative talk, through his negative speech, that he brought destruction into the world. He brought death into the world, and that's why the speech of the snake was so punished. It was so brought down that now he's just like, what does he do? Like this. I would say slither, but that sounds too Harry Potter. Right? So the original I was going to say original sin. The first sin in the world, the destruction in the world comes from Lashon Hara, and it's the very, very deepest klipa. It's the very deepest source of the destruction in the world, and so because it's such a deep destruction, so that's why a person that falls into destruction. So it's like he's considered like, that's it. You're not really 1,000% Jewish anymore. We're going to send you out of the camps. You can't consider yourself a full-fledged Jew anymore. And that's why, Tzadok says, that's why the only one that can actually say such a thing is only Hashem. So the Zohar says that sometimes it says Aaron HaKohen, and sometimes it says HaKohen. In this week's Parshat, when it talks about Tzaras, it doesn't say Aaron HaKohen, it says HaKohen. So the Zohar says when it says HaKohen, it means that the Kohen is doing it on behalf of Hashem. So it's really Hashem doing it. So only Hashem himself can do such a horrible thing to give the person this sign, this status that he's like no longer part of the Jewish people. So that only Hashem could do such a thing. So that's why it's too serious a tumah that to just be brought about naturally, so to speak. Okay? So that's why it has this unique quality about it that the Kohen, that with the words of the Kohen, that he's the one who actually has to make it go down. So now, how does one escape? How does one escape this horrible tumah of being full of yourself, of being self-centered? So there's two things that Tzadok discusses in the solution. Okay? The first step of the solution should be self-evident, and that is shiflut, is feeling that you're not so special, you're not God's gift to the world, that you're not the center of everything. Shiflut means feeling lowly, feeling that like I'm just a regular guy, just I'm nothing special. I'm just a regular guy. Like so this, the Gemara hints to this because it says in the beginning of the Metzora that how do we purify a Metzora? So it says the Kohen has to take Eitz Erez ve'ezov. So Chazal say that Erez, a cedar tree, is a very, very tall tree, and Ezov is a very, 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 very short bush, very, very small bush. So hyssop bush. It's a very, very short bush, and so because he made himself so big, like a cedar tree, so his tikkun, his rectification, is that he should try to emulate the hyssop tree. They should be a little bit small, a little bit short. Be like to make like look at yourself as a little bit smaller. Don't think you're so full of hot air. So that's the first thing, shiftless. Okay, so now. So this is what we call in Judaism humility, anava. Okay, anava is obviously a positive trait. You know, Baruch Spinoza was of the opinion that humility is a negative trait. That he felt it's a sign of weakness to be humble. So that and so Judaism, on the other hand, so we tell our biggest hero. We are the biggest hero in Jewish history, Moshe Rabbeinu. So what is the greatest attribute that he had is that he was the Anav Mikol Adam. He was the most humble person that ever lived. So we absolutely look at humility as a very, very positive thing. And so the humility of that a person is aspiring to. So this is something that brings him close to Hashem. This is something that makes you emulate Hashem. Like Hashem is also very humble. Hashem doesn't feel that there's things he can't do. He says that Hashem, he goes to all the unfortunate people. He doesn't say that, oh, you're not cool enough for me. Hashem hangs around all the misfits. Hashem hangs around all the people that nobody wants to be friends with. And Hashem helps all of them. So Chazal say that the Hashem is a great anav. Hashem is a very, very humble person. Not only that, but Hashem is constantly taking a lot from us. He takes a lot of slack. So like a person who's full of himself, whenever you cross them, so then they're like, excuse me? Like, get out of here. And we crossing Hashem right, left, and center. And Hashem just takes it. He says, okay, probably didn't mean it. Tomorrow he'll be better. So just give him another chance. And like, so shh, it's okay. We don't need to talk about him. And Hashem is so humble. Hashem is amazingly humble. So we look at God as being humble. So of course we want to emulate God. So now but Tzadok writes that there's another point which is critical in the purification of the Metzora, and that is it says v'huva el hakain. What does it mean v'huva el hakain? So literally v'huva el hakain means that he should be brought before the kain, but he quotes from the Midrash that the Midrash Tanchuma says v'hu ba, that it should be read as two words, v'hu ba, he needs to come, and that the Midrash is saying that there needs to be a inner turnover, inner turmoil, that this person gets to the conclusion himself. He needs to reach the conclusion that nobody's going to do this for me.
Which is the exact opposite of the word huva.
Correct. That is true. But the Midrash says v'hu ba. It could be that that's what bothered him. So like how could it be that nobody's actually forcing him? Nobody, like there is no halacha that we force a guy to come to the kain. So that's what forces it to read. That must be hinting to that it's really two words, that v'hu ba, which really means that in order for the kain to become pure, he needs to come to this realization himself. Okay, and Rav Tzadok quotes from a story in the Gemara from Rav Elazar ben Tadaya, that Rav Elazar ben Tadaya, so it says that he was a great sinner, and he was obsessed with prostitutes, and once he went to a certain prostitute that was a very, very high class, very elitist kind of prostitute, that she had the highest rate and that was hard to get to her, and finally he got to her, and he said I think that she passed gas when she was with him, and he said, just like that gas is never going to come back into me, so too you're such a loser, you're such a goner, you're such a she was pretty full of herself that she felt that she could like talk down to her client right now. But that you're never going to do tshuva. You're so lost. You're so lost. You're so obsessed. You're going to come back to me. You're so down in this rat hole that you're hopeless. That's what she said to him. And those words of the pastor to him, so that caused him to do this amazing tshuva, and so he realized that like, oh my gosh, like I need to get my act together. I need to get back. So first he says the shemesh v'yireh. It says har megvayis, bikshu alei rachamim, that the mountains and the valleys, please ask mercy for me, and then there was no answer. And then he says shemesh v'yireh, bikshu alei rachamim, that the sun and the moon, please ask mercy for me, and there was no response. And then it says that Rosh Ein Hadavar Tali Alabi, that he realized that it's all dependent on me. And it says that he sat down and he put his head between his knees and he started crying until he cried himself to death. That was the end of the story. And then the famous heavenly voice that came out, that Reb Elazar ben Dudaya Muchan L'chai Olam Haba, that not only is he going straight to heaven from this tshuva, but he even became a rabbi posthumously. The heavenly voice called him Rebbe Elazar ben Dudaya. The Gemara notes this, and so this point, the punchline of the story is Ein Hadavar Tali Alabi. I once saw a very beautiful explanation of this Gemara from what's her name, from Rebbetzin Esther Younggrace, that she said that when it says the mountains, when it says the mountains of valleys, so what does that mean? So we find in the Navi that it refers to the Avot HaKadoshim, to our forefathers as the Harim, as the mountains. So his first point was that he was trying to shift the blame. He was saying, it's my parents' fault. Like the reason why I ended up the way I did is because of my upbringing. Like my parents were just horrible parents, and it's because of the household that I grew up with. That's why I ended up the way I am. And then there was no answer, and he realized that I guess I can't blame my parents. And then he says the sun of the earth, the sun of the moon. What?
It was a Gavot.
Gavot, I think it's the mothers. And then so he said then he says the sun and the moon that ask for me. He says that's referring to the constellations. That I have bad DNA. Just like a bad I have this certain temperament because of whatever. This is just the way I am. And this is the way you were created to be this kind of person. I was created to be this kind of person. It's just I was this is this is your sun sign, this is your moon sign. So this is the way I am. And so rising sign, and so then there was no answer. And then he realized that enough blaming other people, it's just dependent on me. That was the realization that he came to, that stop blaming your negative behaviors based on your upbringing, your society, your temperament, that you're in control, you're the one to blame, you can change it. And that when he realized that Ein Hadavar Tali Alabi, so that is what made this turnover, that's what made he was able to turn his life around, and ended abruptly, unfortunately, but that's what he was able to change, to make a deep change. So the Tzadok writes, the person that's in this unfortunate mentality, this unfortunate mindset of being full of themselves, so they need to reach this place of shiftless. They need to reach this place of humility. That I think I think I'm a regular guy, which is such a beautiful place to be. That I just think I'm a regular guy. And by the way, there's a very a simple way to understand. What does it mean I'm a regular guy? That am I supposed to think that I know the same as other people that know less than me? Am I supposed to think that I'm mean like other people who are mean? What does it mean? It means something very simple. It means to understand that we all have our own journey, and how good you are is not dependent on how good you're doing. It's how successful you are in the particular challenges that you have. So for one person, it could be that the challenges that he has is that like, should I daven the entire Shemona Esrei with intense kavanas, or should I only have intense kavana for 18 of the brachas and for 19 to slack a little bit? And that's his struggle in life. And then the other person, his struggle in life is that, am I going to smoke 30 cigarettes the Shabbos, or am I only going to smoke 10 cigarettes the Shabbos? And so you could have the guy that succeeded in not smoking 20 cigarettes because he only smoked 10, and he's a tzaddik, and the other guy that's learning all day, and he's actually failing in life because he was supposed to daven 19 brachos with kavana, and he's not. So that's really, you really never know. You really can't judge who's better than who, because we're all on our own journey. And so, like, how can I say that I'm better than anybody else? Because we're all trying. we really are. So that's the source of humility, to understand that I'm actually a regular guy. I'm trying with my stuff. You're trying with your stuff. You're trying with your stuff. We're all on our journey. We're all trying. And so, like, who am I to say who's better than who? So we need to reach this place of shifts. We need to reach this place of feeling that I'm just a regular guy, that I'm not so special. And so Tzadok says that there's two ways to come to this conclusion. One way, which is not the good way, which is not the way that's going to bring you to purity, to purification, to tahara, is if you come to shiftless from somebody else. What does that mean? There's another way to come to shiftless. A person that's full of themselves. So if your parents tell you enough time, you're such a failure, you're such a nobody, nothing's ever going to be coming of you. You're just bad. You're just if your friends tell you that you're so worthless, I don't think anybody would ever want to be your friend. Like that, if other people use their speech, their malchus, like to put you down, so that's going to kill a person. That is not the shiftless that is going to bring a person to holiness. That's not the humility that is going to bring you close to Hashem. That's going to just make the person want to kill themselves. So because the purification of tzaras is through anava, is through shiftless, is through humility, so that's why the Torah says, V'huva elokein, you need to come to this yourself. If you're going to be put into a place of feeling like you're a nobody, so then that feeling that you're a nobody is very toxic, and it's very dangerous, and it's not going to bring you close to Hashem. And so that's why, specifically, the Torah says that the way to come to shiftless needs to be that you realize this yourself. You come to the understanding that we're all in this together. You come to the understanding that we're a society, we all need each other, and we're all doing our thing, and we're all trying our best. And from this place, it comes to our interactions with other people, which is our malchus peh, which is the proper expression of malchus through our peh, the expression that, like, it's not about me, we're all in this together, we're all part of a bigger picture of serving Hashem, of bringing Hashem's glory into the world, and which switches into a positive speech, a positive expression, being a master of our speech, to use our speech to build people, to use our speech to compliment people, to use our speech to help people out and to make them feel good about themselves. So this is the expression, a person who has true anava. True anava means that I come to the realization from a healthy place that we're all in this together. That's why it's not all about me. So that brings the person to actually do the tikkun of the lashon hara, and that is the positive speech, which is speech that builds, not speech that destroys. So bless us all. We should really realize that we're nothing special. To realize that it's not all about us. To realize that we're all in this together. To realize that we're very fortunate to have a higher purpose and not to be just full of ourselves. And through this, we're going to come to the deepest tahara, to come to the deepest purification, and this will get us ready for Mashiach.